So part 2 in the You Suck at Golf series, we're going to talk about the transition and downswing. Stay tuned. So in part 1 of this series, we talked about why your swing sucks because of what you do in the backswing. So part 2, we're going to talk about transition and downswing. If you didn't catch part 1, we'll link it below so you can go through and watch that video and understand how to get into a better position before you watch this one. So we're assuming that you're in an acceptable position at the top of the backswing. You don't have to be in a Tommy Fleetwood or Rory McIlroy position because you're not a fucking tour player, right? It just has to be close. So within a proximity. So, the club a little bit laid off, that's okay. Club a little across the line, that's okay. Elbow a little bit too bent, that's okay. If any of those are major issues, we would need to correct those. From the top of the swing, what I most commonly see is players are getting the club face too open and they're steepening the shaft too much. So we're going to talk about how to fix both of those issues. So the first one is going to be how to fix what the club is doing in transition. And I think it's a lot simpler than people realize. So you'll see a lot of stuff, about like shallowing the shaft and dropping the club and doing all of this. I think that that's okay for some players, but what I want to see from the top of the swing is essentially 2 moves. You're going to get to the top of the backswing. The first thing you're going to do is just try to lower your arms and just reconnect your right tricep to your rib cage, right? And you can see as I do that, the shaft just doesn't steepen. Why are you steepening the shit out of the shaft? Well, you're getting to the top of the backswing and you're trying to close the club face really, really hard. So we'll talk about the face feel within that. But for the transition, to get the shaft and the club to lower, we're just going to reconnect the right tricep to the torso and then straighten the right arm. And you can see without much turn how far from the inside that club is. If I do that move with any rotation at all, the club's right down the target line there, right behind my hands and swinging more into out. What are you doing to fuck all that up? Well, you're getting to the top of the backswing. You're pushing off of your right side too much, pushing your right shoulder out and rotating the forearms all at the same time. And you can see the position of the club head here outside the hands. Some of you will even do that and get the club face open. And now we're hitting really nasty, weak, shitty slices. So what do we want to do from the top of the swing? We're just going to keep our shoulders closed for a longer duration. We're going to shift our weight forward as we lower our arms. How would you practice this? Simply just doing that as a rehearsal, getting to the top of the backswing and just practicing that move at a slower speed where you're practicing swinging the club from inside the target line. What I have players do when we're working on this feel is really just try to hit the ball pretty far to the right. If you're pushing it a little bit too much to start with, that's okay. We're going to try to attack this one variable at a time. If you try to do too much, most of you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So to try to close the face and swing from the inside, you're probably going to fuck it up. So get to the top of the backswing, right? Practice that rehearsal of lowering the arms, getting the club from the inside, and then just practice pushing the ball to the right of the target, right? That ball went pretty far to the right, but if you saw in the video, that club dropped to the inside. The feel to keep the club face in a better position is really just keeping that right hand on top of the shaft. As we keep that right hand more on top, you can see the club face is more closed in this position, matching my spine angle more. This now creates the incentive from the top of the swing to allow the club to drop more to the inside and swing more to the right. It's really hard to swing to the right when the club face is too open in the backswing. Okay, so let's talk about how to close the club face within that motion. Most of us are getting to the top of the backswing and we're either a little too cupped already or we're actually cupping that lead wrist in the downswing. And so as you get to the top, if you cup that lead wrist, the face here is very, very open. And as you're at impact, you're gonna hit it too far to the right, not understanding the issue. What you'll do is you'll just start trying to close or rotate the forearms from the top of the swing, right? Releasing the club. Well, you're just releasing it way too early. So what I have here is I've got a cone with an alignment stick in it, right? You don't necessarily have to do this, but it's a good visual to start to understand how to close the club face. So what I'm gonna try to feel from the top of the swing, I need my lead wrist to flex in the downswing or bow in the downswing. You can see how much that closes the club face without changing the plane of the club. A really simple thing to think about is if I needed that club face to close and not change the angle of the shaft, how would I do it, right? Well, if I do this motion, this is going to change the plane of the shaft pretty simply. And that's what you're doing from the top of the swing too early is you're taking this lead forearm and you're rotating it closed. So what we want to feel, I can close the face pretty dramatically by just twisting that wrist and the club has not shifted the plane that it's on. So what we're gonna do from the top of the swing is just kind of lower the arms and then try to point the club face at the ground. Now, I realize that's really fucking shut, and that ball's gonna go left of the planet. But if your club face is really open in the downswing, if you get a sensation where you're gonna take that club face and turn it down and kind of hammer this stick into the ground, right? As you swing, the club face will just be in a square position. And if you're hitting it too far to the left, then just do it less, right? Just don't exaggerate the feel as much. So clubs getting this way, what's the opposite feel is to go that way. If you just lower the arms and keep the same shitty wrist positions, the face is too open, shanks and blocks in the right field, too much flip at impact. So we need to get to the top of the backswing, lower the arms, close the club face, hammer the stick into the ground. Don't hit a golf ball with the stick there, right? I don't want you guys fucking hurting yourself. So let's move this out of the way. But now we have the visual and the feel for how to create the sensation from the top of the swing, and I can then try that on a golf ball. So the club face closes, right? And the ball starts to draw back to the target. It's important that we sway in our backswing, but one of my least favorite things to see is late sway, where the player's moving to the right at the top of the backswing. This is the point in the swing where we should be moving back towards the target. When we get all of our pressure into our right side at the top of the swing, the tendency is to hang out on that right foot too much, spin open, come over the top, and just hit it like shit. So the last component we're going to talk about is how to shift towards the target. And very rarely do I see a player get into their left side early enough. So the drill we're going to talk about here is going to help you start to understand how to shift towards the target better. What I see is a player gets to the top of the swing and they just start moving away from the target for too long. And as they swing down, they just keep too much of their weight on their back foot. So what we're going to do here is called the step drill. So you're going to take your setup and kind of mark where your front foot is. You're going to start with your feet close together, and what you're going to do as you swing back is step towards the target. Notice that the step happens before the arms get all the way to the top of the backswing. What I don't want to see is this, right? Because that's just moving into your lead side very, very late. The other thing that I don't want to see is this, right? Because now obviously you're way too far forward. You'd never get that far forward. It's going to fuck up the release, because in order to hit a golf ball from there, you're going to have to throw your hands too much coming down. So again, we're going to start in our normal setup, move our foot back, rotate, step as we're rotating back to the top, right? It's like playing baseball, right? If I'm going to play baseball or hit a baseball, what I'm going to do is I'm stepping as my arms are going back. It's the same change of direction that you see in most sports. Throwing a ball, right? Foot goes forward, arm goes back. In golf, arms go back, weight goes forward. So you'll watch as I make a practice swing how I'm moving towards the target as my arms are still getting to the top of the backswing. That's a very, very big key. You're going to probably need to work on the face and pass stuff first and have that pretty ingrained before we start working on this feel, because you may have some issues with trying to do all of this at once. So let's try this on a ball here, right? We've done a couple rehearsals. Take my normal setup, narrow my stance down, and then I'm going to step. Notice I didn't go all the way to the top. I kept the swing a little bit shorter. That's so that I could perform the motion. I'm always going to start slower and shorter with any of these drills and then add length as I get more comfortable. So let's go a little longer on one here and kind of show you what it looks like. So feet are closer to, feet start in our normal position. Then we get them closer together, right? As I swing back, I'm going to step forward. So I didn't quite hit that one solid. That's okay. This is a hard drill to make solid contact with it first. So as you do the drill more and more and add more speed, you'll get more comfortable with it. So last one here. Normal setup position, bring the foot back even with the golf ball, and then we're just going to step towards the target as the club's still going back. When you do this drill, you're trying to finish forward in your setup with your weight on your front foot and in balance. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too boring, and if you made it all the way through the episode, great. If not, go f yourself. And don't forget to stay tuned for our other show, the Big Play Golf Show with Jimmy Hanlon and Big Play Dave, airing on Fridays, and then stay tuned for the next episode of Teed Off.